Hello and happy Christmas from the Talk It Out team. Dan, I'm inviting myself onto the team now. I'm Daniel, this is Dan from UK Bike Fit, and today we're talking about Christmas training, Dan. We figure this is the most relevant thing to talk about at Christmas, being cyclists. However, you and I come at this from slightly different angles, and I'd be really interested to hear from people. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and drop us a comment down below. If you're listening on Spotify, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you're enjoying your training. Christmas training, Dan. Training camp starts, what, 24th? That's what happens, right?
Not for me. I know it does for you with your festive 500.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm pretty against riding over the festive period, to be honest.
We just figured, right, Dan and I are in different life situations, and that Dan, you have two lovely little children, but Christmas is, of course,
go that far.
And I have two lovely little cats, which are slightly less demanding. So Christmas time, for some people who have time off work, it can be a great time to get loads of training in, and I'd like that, but you come from a different angle. So we thought we'd just discuss pros and cons of each, how you're going to manage your training, or you would do in previous years, and then how I have managed mine and what things I've done over Christmas in previous years. So shall I give you a bit of an overview about what sort of things I've done in the past?
Yeah, shoot.
So it depends on the weather, largely. So if it's really bad weather, then obviously you can't do too much, but I've definitely done long indoor rides, and I have an absolute hankering to do the Festive 500 in one day. I've tried to do it twice now and failed, and I was going to do it this year, but I'm working Christmas Eve, and my Festive 500 in a day buddy, Lee Tunnicliffe, is unavailable. But we've got it booked in for 2025.
On Christmas Eve?
Yes. And that,
can't do it on any other day?
No, just finish on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Because to do it the fastest one. Anyway, but my general premise for the Christmas week is I feel like because it's normally full of eating and drinking and not doing much, and that's exactly the opposite of what position I want to be in, I feel like I've got to do loads of training to be able to enjoy some of that stuff. So, and also having the free time, I think it's a waste to not. So I sort of treat it like a stay-at-home training camp, if I'm honest, and try and get as much good training in as I can. Christmas Day, for example, I've already got permission signed off for a ride in the morning. So some of that might be with Liz, some might be on my own before Christmas dinner. So are you out Christmas Day morning? Do you fancy coming along?
Absolutely not. I'll be sleeping, I think. Well, I won't be sleeping because of the kids. But
yeah. So how's your Christmas time been in the last few years? And obviously you're self-employed, so you never fully switch off. But
yeah, so I mean, there's one saying that I really like, and it's never get to the new year or never get to Christmas unfit.
Is that on micros?
Because when you then start, inevitably you get through the new year and everyone's like, right, I best start training now. You're starting off from a point that's, further back than you should be if you've not done anything up to that point. So usually this year's a bit of a different year for me because I've been injured with a broken hip for a couple of months, so I am unfit, and it is Christmas, so that's me. But normally I would try and maintain training or try and maintain some sort of fitness to the same level that I'd normally be in the summer through Christmas and New Year. I've never been compelled to ride through Christmas and New Year. I will ride, but I'll not the festive 500. It puts a lot of pressure on doing 500k in a week or whatever it is. I've never been like that. I've never thought, I've got to ride. I just don't like forcing myself to ride when it's not convenient. So, yes, obviously the last few years, I've got a 3 and a 5-year-old, so the last few years we've had kids in the way as well. And ultimately, Christmas is about the kids, really. It is for them. So if I'm taking myself off on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, days in between, where normally you get a bit more family time, that's just a bit crap and a bit selfish for me when I should be focusing on them and doing stuff with them. So for that reason, but again, I'm not really motivated to ride through Christmas just because I wouldn't enjoy it. I'm not forcing myself to do a certain amount of mileage when I don't have to. I wouldn't bother riding. So
would you have that week or few days off, or are you time efficient? How are you fitting in training? What sort of training are you doing?
Yeah, I just wouldn't. I just ride when I want to ride. If I've got a spare hour or two or whatever, I've got a spare hour, I'll get on my bike or whatever. Usually on the turbo because of the weather, but I can get on my bike. But I wouldn't say, right, on this day I'm doing this, on this day I'm doing that session, I'm doing 4 hours after that, then I'll have a recovery day. I'm not planning it like that. I'm just going to ride when I've got time and when there's no family stuff going on, and just take it as it comes, really. And then once that New Year period's out of the way and the kids are back to school and everything like that, then when you're back into a set routine, then I'll start structuring stuff a bit more. But I think as long as you do something to keep some sort of fitness going, it's good for when you then start after the new year, picking it back up again for summer.
So you're treating it as a bit of a recovery week, so to speak, like an easier week. Are you perhaps training harder before that because you know that you're having a bit of time off, or is it just...
No, I wouldn't even think about it as, I'll have a recovery week here, I'll have a hard week here. If I've got the time and the stars align and I've just got the time to ride a lot, I'll ride a lot and train a lot. Most of the time that doesn't happen because there's stuff going on, but I'll just take it as it comes and not even bother about any sort of structured training for a week or two, and just...
Do you, during that time, I know like you've got me favoured on Strava, so let's say you're scrolling through Strava and you see, I know you haven't, that's a joke, if you see, oh, Daniel's been out and God, he's done 4 hours on Christmas Day, and God, he's in good shape, what's your feelings towards people doing that sort of stuff? Are you like, do you resent them, or do you just accept you're in a different situation? What's the...
I guess initially I'm like, what an idiot. But no, then if I think about it a bit more, it's like, well, do what you want to do. Like, I'm not a Scrooge, but again, Christmas is for the kids, not for me. So a Christmas Day is just like any other day to me. Like, if you've got the time to go and ride 4 hours on Christmas Day, then great, crack on. Like, that's fine. Because you've obviously not got other plans, and that's what you want to do on Christmas Day. And Christmas Day is a day off work, it's a day off from normal life to do what you want. And if you want to ride 4 hours on your bike, then go for it. But yeah, it's just the way that I do Christmas, which is basically what the kids need to do or want to do. I'll be doing that. I don't prioritise my riding. I'll just ride when I can, and if I can't ride, and I don't care.
I can't wait for Mrs. UK Bike Fit to comment this video. No, he doesn't. He's always out on his bike over Christmas.
Yeah. I think in the past, like, mates have always said to me, "Oh, do you want to do Festive 500? We're going to do Festive 500 this year. Do you want to tag along or whatever?" I've always been like, well, maybe not. Like, if I've got the time to do it, I will. And obviously, then it always ends up that I've never got the time to do it, so I don't. But I think there was one year where I did try and like do some sort of riding all the way through Christmas, and I got on the bike on Christmas morning and stuff like that. This was obviously pre-kids, because that's definitely not happening nowadays. But and yeah, I sort of tried to do it, but then I went back to that feeling of forcing myself to ride when I just didn't want to, or there was other stuff to do, like family stuff or whatever. We're going here, there, and everywhere. So it just became unenjoyable because I was forcing it, and I've even when it's not Christmas, when I'm doing some sort of training, I'll never force myself to ride if I really don't want to. There are obviously times where if you're doing a session in the morning or something, you wake up, you think, I really can't bother today. Yeah. And you do just, make yourself get on the bike, and then you feel all right. But I've never really, like, if I don't want to ride, I won't ride. Yeah. And it's not like Christmas, I don't want to ride.
Oh, watching the children unwrap Christmas presents is like a chore, is it? It's not like, I wish I was on the bike.
You say that. I wouldn't say it's enjoyable.
You're watching them open the presents and you're like, I have no idea what that is because I wasn't involved in buying it.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah. And I guess the message I was trying to convey in this sort of conversation is you can only do what you can do, and everybody has different life things going on. Training isn't always the number one priority. Some people are able to do it at different times. So if you're in the situation of Dan, you've got kids, or maybe you have other commitments during Christmas, and you're scrolling through Strava and you see, all these people doing this. Like, don't worry about it. You can't control it. You can do what you can do. There are other times of the year where you're able to do loads of training, and I don't know, I'm doing something else. Like, it's just...
Yeah. Well, this is the flip side, right? So someone in the exact opposite position to me, no kids or whatever, this is a good period of time off work for most people. So if work is the constraint to your training, then this is a really good time for some people to get a lot of training in and get some good mileage or volume in or whatever you want to do. So, it swings and roundabouts, but depends on what people... I think what you brought up about Strava, I think loads of people look at Strava and look at what other people doing and almost feel guilty and like think, well, they're riding, maybe I should be riding, and they've done 3 hours and I only did 1 or whatever. Like they compare themselves to each other a lot. And Christmas especially, because people are in different family situations and in different boats of how much time they've got. I think Christmas, people are looking at Strava thinking, wow, they've done a lot of mileage over Christmas and I've not. They're going to be ahead of me when it comes into January, and there's all that sort of competitive stuff goes on. So yeah, I wouldn't, if anyone does do that, I really wouldn't.
I always sort of say just delete the app or something. Just don't go on it if that's how you're affected by it.
God, yeah.
And I think some people really don't care. Like our friend Lee, he was doing a triathlon, and I sent him a screenshot of somebody else who was doing a triathlon Strava for the last few weeks, and this other guy had been like training big, and Lee's response was, "Yeah, but he doesn't absorb it like I do." And like, it just struck me as like, oh, he just doesn't care what other people are doing. Like he can only do what he's doing, and he's in the same situation to you. You know, you've got other demands in life and can't do 20-hour training weeks all the time. So yeah, interesting. I'd be really interested to hear what people are doing over the festive period and how you deal with those sorts of things. And I even find for myself, like if you go to like a family thing, hardly any of my family do any sort of sport. So when you talk about, oh, I've been for a run this morning, have you? Why? Yeah. Where are you going to and from? Why are you riding your bike now? And it's like you feel like you're having to justify it to somebody. Well, I'm cycling because I've got a triathlon in whenever May. Oh yeah, but that's ages away. Why are you cycling that far? It's just it's weird to some people, isn't it? So.
Yeah, but and compare cycling to other sports. So if someone their hobby is football or rugby or whatever, they're not on Christmas morning going to have a kick about the park, are they? Or
I've actually got a new football net.
Yeah,
can't wait to see that in your living room.
But it seems to be with this, it's endurance sport, isn't it? Like you said, running, triathlon, cycling, like these swimming, these sorts of endurance sports have always got this seem to have this sort of pressure on, oh, you've got to be doing something at some point all the time, otherwise you're going to get less fit. And
it's that CTL number goes down on Training Peaks. Yeah,
yeah, like this is the time not to give a toss about that sort of stuff, isn't it? Like, but I think I think Strava has created this sort of pressure for loads of people where they're looking at Strava thinking, well, I've got to keep up with them, or they're doing so much more than me, I better do a bit more. And if you don't want to, don't do it. If you're not going to enjoy it, then you're going to have other problems. Even if you get a bit fitter, you're going to have time away from work, time away from your kids, time away from whatever. You're going to be busier in life and more stressed, less sleep. Just don't worry yourself.
You did make an allowance the last year. We have a very prestigious local event, don't we, on Boxing Day?
I did,
in Ilkeston Sound Centre, about 1.5 minute closed road hill climb, exactly what you want the day after Christmas.
But I tell you what, having that event actually made me do a bit of training up to Boxing Day, but I loved doing that on Boxing Day because it is like a really short climb. It was less than 1.5 minutes for me, I'll have you know.
It might be a couple of minutes for me this year.
But that was really good fun, and because it's only 1 and a bit minutes, like you're not going out for hours. Yeah, you have to get there a bit and you spend a bit of time around. But I think we did last year, we were on our way to some family over Nottingham way, so it's kind of on the way. So we drove over, did the hill climb, and then went off to families, and it was great. It was a good way to start the morning without taking up loads of time. Kept you training up until Christmas because you've got some sort of event to target, and then once that's done, I obviously had a few days off, I think, doing nothing because I'd done something. I
particularly enjoyed that period of time because the day after that, you realised you'd lost your key for the bike lock on your roof and you locked your front wheel to your roof.
God, yeah, that was that time, wasn't it? Yeah, so on Boxing Day, our car was outside my in-laws' house with the front wheel still attached. I forgot about that. I found the key eventually.
Did you?
It was all rusty, like weeks later. I'd already ruined the lock. I got some pliers on it, something cut the lock. And then weeks later...
It was like a Windspace Hyper 50 on your roof, wasn't
it? Yeah. My in-laws were like, oh, I found a key on the drive weeks ago, but we didn't put 2 and 2 together. I forgot it was yours. Oh, cheers.
I'm not going there this year.
Bike roof racks are expensive as well, as I found out.
So yeah, there we go. Happy Christmas. Have a good one if you haven't already. And see you soon.